When I was in elementary school, I was terrified of our lunch lady. She had been the lunch lady for as long as anybody could remember, and I wasn't the only one who was scared of her. It was like this vibe. The entire school, including the other staff and teachers, they were all scared of her too. Although no one knew why it was there. This looming fear. The fear was so real. It felt like it had its own heartbeat. A collective pulse, soft and deep. And it came in the knowing she was there. The staff at our school rarely entered the cafeteria, always carefully avoiding it and her. I knew it the first time I felt it, the sheer utter fear that ran all over me. It came from just being near her. I was 7, in line to get hot lunch, as we called it. A rare treat for our household, as it was always cheaper to pack a lunch and take it to school. In line, I grab a tray and place it on the cold metal counter that you are to receive your food on. Excited, I slide my tray down, selecting the different choices from the other lunchroom staff. Potatoes from one, Jello from another. Then came her. She was in charge of dispersing the Salisbury steak and gravy. As I approached her, she made eye contact with me, and her eyes grew wide as she spoke to me in an uber creepy old lady voice. I don't remember you. You must be new. She said this, lipstick smeared all around her mouth. Combining with the other horrible makeup choices she made, I just stared at her. It was all I could do. She slapped the meat and gravy onto my tray and then said, "I'll be looking for you." And as she spoke, the drool that had been collecting at the corners of her mouth had started to slowly drip down the sides of her mouth to her chin. Like an animal waiting for its approaching meal, she was salivating. Frozen with fear, my first impulse was to drop my tray and run all the way home. Bursting through the front door in tears, I explained that the lunch lady was a monster and that I was never going back to school. Ever. My mother called the school and was informed of the fear-inducing lunch lady. But my mother assured me that the lunch lady was indeed not a monster, and I returned to school. I never ate hot lunch again. And I wasn't the only one. As time went on, the number of children actually eating hot lunch had reduced so much that the school had to let the other 2 lunch lady helpers go, leaving only one, decreasing the number of students willing to even purchase hot lunch at 0. It was shortly after that that the police paid a visit to our school and took the lunch lady away. All of the children gathered at the windows, just silently watching as they took her away. A collective sigh washed over the school. She was gone. It wasn't until I was a little older that I found out why. Being the senior staff member of the lunch program also meant she was in charge of the budget. That part is important, as it forced her to make arrangements for the most expensive part of the lunch program, the meat. She did the math, and if she could find a way to get meat dirt cheap, she would reduce the costs, stay under budget, and probably receive a raise as a result. So she got creative for her meat supply. It seemed our district had an unusually high number of teachers retiring that year, and since they wouldn't have a daily routine where they would be missed, well, you do the math. But that meat could only last so long. Eventually, she had to branch out. The worst part of putting this all together in my head was, I remember when I was younger, some teachers that I thought had transferred, or friends I thought had moved away, had actually turned out to be missing. The thought of where they might have ended up made me cry, then vomit. But honestly, I guess I can't be too sad. After all, they'll always be a part of me.